Good morning, luge friends, family, and fans. We've made our way to Eastern Germany for event number 5 on the 48th season of the EBERSPA Luge World Cup Tour. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer. Welcome to snowy Altenberg, Germany in the Eastern Ore Mountains, as today we have one of the busiest days of the entire World Cup luge season, as we'll open things up in just a few moments with the women's doubles competition. Then later today, it's women's singles, and then the men take the stage to complete day number 1. It will be the men's doubles event to conclude Saturday. Tomorrow we've got 2 more what should be exciting races with men's singles, as well as the team relay, the 3rd team relay of the season. Well, they're getting this track ready. We'll have some specific weather information for you in a moment, but as you can see, there is light snow and quite a bit of wind. It has been snowing all night, although things are getting a little better. Right now, to tell you a little bit more about the situation here in Altenberg, how the track is doing, and today's competition, I'm pleased to introduce my co-commentator for this weekend's first race, the 2024 world champion from Team Austria, Lisa Schulte. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Tim.
Hey, thanks for being with us. And first off, congratulations on what has been a terrific season so far for you this year.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy and excited about how the season has been going so far.
Now, the season so far for Lisa and all of these luge athletes have taken them from Norway to here in Germany, Austria as well, Latvia, and we're back in Germany for the first of 3 consecutive races. Lisa, you've been training here all week. As we look at these athletes get ready, tell us a little bit about how the Altenberg track is doing this year.
Oh, it's great. I mean, Altenberg is always a pretty tricky track. There are a lot of parts where you can make mistakes or really lose time. But I like the track. It's difficult, but once you have the hang on it, it's really fun to slide here.
It was certainly fun for you, Lisa, last year. This is where the World Championships were held, and not only did you win that World Championship, I believe you also had podiums in the other 2 World Cup races as well.
Yes, in the World Cup race after Altenberg, because we were here for 3 weeks last year, I had 3rd place. And before that, Altenberg wasn't really my favorite track because it's always difficult for me to be here and to slide here. But since last year, I think I kind of got it. I don't want to jinx it for tomorrow, but I'm excited to race tomorrow again.
No, we're excited to see you race, and don't worry about jinxing it. You've been pretty solid here. Now, the athletes are getting ready, as you see, a lot of jogging, a lot of arm exercises. If you get a chance here on our YouTube channel, they've put together a couple of very good preview videos for the Altenberg race. There's one with Jessica Degenhardt, who will be racing this morning. Jessica gives us a little tour from top to bottom. As Torsten says, good morning to everyone. And also, and I don't know if you saw this one, Lisa, did you see the video with Georges Racco?
Oh, yes, I've seen it, where he explained the old men's start, the scary tower.
That's right. Yeah, later on tomorrow when we see them, or today, as a correction, today will be the men's singles, not the women's singles. And when we get up to that top start area, you're going to see an old start that's steep. It's unbelievable. Meantime, some of the athletes to look out for, there's Cheyenne Rosenthal warming up. And Lisa, we got to figure the Germans will be strong, but your 2 teammates, Selena and Laura, have been unbelievable this year, haven't they?
Yes, they have been doing amazing so far, and I also think they have good chances to keep it going today. I mean, the Germans will be strong, and I also think the Latvian girls with Upite Kaluma, who have the track record here, can be really fast here. So I think it's going to be an exciting race.
Probably both Latvian teams will be in the competition here. But Egla and Kip, they lead the World Cup standings for Austria. In the first race in Lillehammer, they had a little bit of a problem before coming back to finish 6th. But in the 3 subsequent races, they have won all but 1 heat, individual heat. Only the Americans have won another heat, but they've won all 3 races. Egla and Kip leading the way over the USA, Germany, and the Latvians, in which Lisa just spoke. Great drone shots, as always, by our social media team, as they've put together some great pictures all around the world so far. So Lisa, now let's concentrate on this Altenberg track. For the doubles start, the lowest of the starts, just under 1,000 meters with 11 turns. And as we're going to take a little ride from top to bottom, as you well know, there are challenges everywhere in Altenberg, but for doubles, it begins almost immediately, doesn't it?
Yes, it begins in curve 9, which makes it really difficult because from double starts you don't have enough speed yet, so it's very tricky to have a clean exit of 9, and we will see how many doubles will make it out like a straightaway today. But here we see the start, which goes into curve 7, and the first 2 curves are just like gaining a bit of speed before now. This is the tricky curve 9. And the exit to the long straightaway, and you all even saw in the video that they went out really right to the right, and now it's in Kreisel, which is I feel like it's okay from double starts. And now 11-12, it's a really fast turn of curves, which could also be tricky, and 13-14, and now one more straightaway where you like get a little bit lighter, and now into the long 16. And into the finish curve 17.
That's where you'll actually be able to see the sleds pass right by the window in the commentator booth.
Yeah.
And track records probably will not fall, but they could, then, especially in this women's race, because it's still a relatively new discipline. It was the Latvians, Upita and Kaluma, that set the track record last year at the World Cup, or the World Championships. Here are closer looks at the conditions. It's supposed to stay at or below freezing, despite the snow, although the snow may let up throughout the weekend. You may recall last weekend, if you were watching, or last season, Altenberg was very, very warm, and that affected several of the races.
Yes, I think maybe the track record won't fall in the first run, but maybe if the snow gets a bit better or lighter, then maybe we can see it happen in the second run.
And some of the other races where a couple of the track records are 6, 7, 8 years old. That will be fun. There are already been a lot of track records so far this season. So we'll check out the starting list here. There are 15 sleds in today's competition. That's the largest so far this season in women's doubles, as the second American team has made a reappearance on tour. It will also be the debut for Canada in women's luge, so that will be fun, women's doubles luge for this season. And then they'll count them down. Page number 2 here, all of the seeded athletes and all of the pre-event favorites, certainly Germany, Latvia, and USA. They've had the best results this season along with Austria. But look out for Italy. Andy and Marian still looking for their first podium this year, but they are still the defending World Cup champions. Lisa, they will probably be a factor, we would think, today, right?
They definitely can be fast here, and I would hope for them to have a good result today. They haven't been in the seated training yesterday. I think they had some health issues going on, but I think they are still on the start list, so hopefully they feel good and ready to race today.
Maya Chan doing her last second visualization at the top alongside teammate Sophia Gordon, 21 years old and 20 years old respectively. Sophia, the bottom man, so to speak, competed in the World Cup in one race last year where she finished in 25th place in singles in Whistler, Canada. Maya has had many podiums during the 4 years of Women's Doubles World Cup with her former partner, Rayanne Weiler. The track is clear. Welcome to Luge this weekend. Thanks for tuning in. We see on the YouTube chat already a lot of viewers waking up early to watch their favorite sport.
Und los geht's für die Amerikaner.
Handling the first corner so far okay, but here's corner number 9.
Oh, they did a solid job there. They were a little bit too high at the end of 9, but they made a good exit of 9. And now also Chrysler's looking fine with a nice early. Oh, there was a close one into 12 there.
She did a great job of keeping her balance. Now to the bottom portions of this course. This is a tricky place over the bridge.
Oh, and I think there was a late entry into 16, but I think for their first run, it's a good run.
43.179 as a point of comparison. That's about 0.8 of a second off of the track record here on this snowy morning for this team in just their second ever World Cup race together.
Yeah, they were a little bit too high in the end of 11 there and a bit too early onto 12, and they made a good job saving that one.
One down, 14 to go here in Altenberg, Germany. They get the green light, that's a good sign. And here's another World Cup debut for 2 young Canadians, Beate Podolsky, Kaylee Allen. If you're up early in Calgary watching, please correct me if I've mispronounced the names of these new athletes whom I haven't yet met, but it's great to see. Lisa, Canada, finally, they also had a guy, didn't qualify for the race, Dylan, but they've got a full contingent now, and I expect we'll see them in their first relay tomorrow.
Yes, it's really great to have Team Canada back on tour with a full team. And they are like a really new double, and they just, there was a bit of overcorrecting there before Chrysler. But I think they've only started to slide doubles this season, so they are really fresh together, which doesn't make it easier on tracks like Altenberg to slide.
Certainly not. They have fallen behind the Americans down here at the bottom part of the track and really trying hard to keep it up down the center of the track. 43.288, just a few little corrections from top to bottom.
Yeah, there were some small mistakes, not too bad. We were in the trainings group with Team Canada and they had a rough week here, so I think they are happy that they made it down to the finish with just 2 small bumps on the wall here.
We saw this a lot, Lisa, last week in Sigulda on those long straightaways down near the bottom. The key was if you were going to touch a wall, just do not do too much to overcorrect, right? Or you'll end up in the other wall.
Exactly. You really have to stay calm and try to steer towards the wall you just hit, because otherwise you get a lot of direction to the next wall and then you're losing control there.
Well, yesterday, for the first time this season, there was a Nations Cup race in women's doubles. That's because we have more than the allotted seated athletes showing up here in Altenberg. And that race was won in their first time ever on the World Cup by this young Italian team, Alexandra Oberstolz and Katarina Kofler. Oberstolz competed in singles last week in Sigulda, just 17 years old.
Yes, they're a really young double, and I think they won the Youth Olympic Games in Pyeongchang. So maybe if they get a little more experience, they're gonna maybe mix up this field a little bit.
That would be great. You, of course, remember when you were 17, you thought you were ready for the World Cup, but you probably still had a lot to learn.
Exactly. I think it's just very exciting to be then with like the national team and just learning a lot. And they did a good job right here, putting down a clean run.
Gotta love Sandra Robacher. She always is there during the doubles races, down at the bottom, taking her spot in the leader's box to cheer on the teammates.
Yeah, they did a good job here. Maybe it was a little late into 16 as well, but they did a good job.
Okay, the USA leads over Italy and Canada. Now we make our way into the final 12, and all of these athletes have already had some World Cup experience this year, and in many cases, some World Cup successes. This is the first of the German teams. There are 3 in today's race. Alisa Storch, Paulina Potts, both 20 years old, both from the Oberhof area. And these two actually have had 1 World Cup race, a 6th in Oberhof, but they did finish last year in 12th place in the Altenberg World Championships.
Yeah, I think at the start, all the doubles that just went are pretty close together at the start, and now they had a pretty clean exit of 9, which makes them go into the green. It's one of their home tracks, so they probably have a lot of experience here already.
That's right. The German team did pre-season training here in Altenberg, then a little bit more during the holiday break, and these lines are great as they open up the lead.
Yes, they're doing a great job. Maybe they were some little late into 14, but overall it looked great. So it's also first place in the finish.
The Germans are still looking to prove something now that they're back home. As you may recall, the Austrians pretty much spoiled the German World Championship party last year, not to mention the first week of racing in Oberhof. So this could be a breakout weekend. We'll see.
Yeah, it could be. We will see. I think it's going to be exciting and close races this week, especially now with the snow. It makes it one more factor you can't really control, which, yeah, we will see how it goes.
Green light, gut, as Patrick Leitner, the head coach, just mentioned. And the second of the 3 Germans, Diana Eitberger, Olympic silver medalist in singles. She stormed onto the scene with her transition into doubles the last few years, but with a new partner now, Lena Machina, they've had some inconsistent results. Their best finish so far this year was a 6th place. They're still looking for their top 5. Eitberger and Machina from Germany.
I think there was something wrong at the start because it looked a little weird. I'm not sure if something broke there. And also exit of 9 was really high. They've just been having really inconsistent run this year because they can have the speed to be on top, but it's just, I think it's still difficult to be consistent for Diana and her double partner Machina.
Yeah, Diana said earlier this week that she's been training well all season, preseason and during the break here in Altenberg, but race day, I think you hit on it, Lisa. There had to be something near the top. The run was pretty good and they made up a little bit of time at the bottom half, but maybe we'll get another look. What did you see?
Yes, I think that where the bottom man or bottom woman pulls at the start maybe broke. I'm not sure. Maybe they'll show it in the finish because we didn't see it in slow motion right now. Also here, exit 9 was really high. She did a good job not hitting the wall there. Because I think Diana and Magdalena are not, they are probably really good at the start.
Yeah, Diana, it's been a frustrating season so far, but at 34 years old, this mother, wife. Oh yeah, there you go, good catch. I guess it's better to break the equipment than to break a bone at the start.
That's true, but I think it really makes you angry because I think that they sew it together and put a lot of time into that, and if it breaks at the start, you have the whole run before you, and you know you just really lost a lot of time at the start.
We didn't get any official word on the sweeping protocol, but I am assuming that they are doing it after every 5 sleds in this race because we have a little bit of a break before the Romanians go. And it's important here, Lisa, because this is a track that is not covered all the way, but you get a little lucky break when you're the first to go after the sweeping.
That's true, especially at the straightaways. There can be a lot of snow, and with the wind, it's pretty much can go everywhere into the track, even though it's not snowing too hard right now. So I think every 5 people or every 5 sleds, it will be it's a good thing that they swipe it today.
Raluca Strămăturaru and Mihaela Manolescu, Romania, they finished 7th last year at the World Championships here in Altenberg. They had a crash last week in Sigulda during training and had to miss the race as Raluca had a little injury to her left hand, but she says she's fine this week and ready to go.
Yes, let's hope they have a better race today. That was a solid exit of 9. Now they have a little bit of a loop in Kreisel.
They've had one top 10 this year at 9th in Lillehammer, Norway.
Yeah, it's a
nice lines here.
It's nice lines. Her head position is a bit high, which is for Raluca. That's how they slide. But the line-wise, it was a really good run.
6th place right now. Lisa, we've been saying this all year. We've been noticing how Raluca's head is high, and I wasn't sure whether that was uncertainty. You say now that that's just her style. Is it safety before speed in some cases?
I think so. Maybe I think she changed from singles to doubles, and maybe it's still difficult for her to maybe relax a little bit more and lay back. Also, maybe it depends on the bottom woman, on the anatomy of her body, that the way she can't really put her head down, because usually you can lay your head back and just relax. Maybe that's not working. So I'm not entirely sure, but maybe it's a bit of like insecurities in the track, not really having the control.
Sure. Well, the last two sleds with athletes Eitberger and Strămăturaru, who were both standout Olympians in 2018, switching from singles to doubles. Here is another singles to doubles athlete, Elena Stechkiv, along with Alexandra Moog. Elena, over the last couple of years, has been doing singles and doubles, but over the last couple of weeks, we have not seen her in singles. Perhaps she's making the full switch to doubles.
Yes, I can imagine that, because it's doing both. It's a lot for your body, and also maybe I think, oh, that was a big mistake right there before 11. And now they lost a lot of speed.
Cleaning it up. Elena's head is up a little bit too down here in the lower curves, 13, 14, 15. Crossing, skidding right across the finish. 10th of a second back. Despite this rough run, Lisa, last week was an historic one for Team Ukraine in Sigulda, wasn't it?
It was a great place for them and Teams Relay. It was a crazy team relay, but they did a good job. They all made it to the finish, and it was the first podium ever, I think, for Ukraine in a teams event, which is awesome.
Their first podium in a team event on the World Cup, their first podium in any World Cup in at least 20 years. A lot of skidding.
Yeah, they were too early, I think, out of Kreisel, and then rolled back, and then it's just overreacting. But they did a good job staying on the sled.
A little earlier, we had an Italian Oberstolz, who's the daughter of a former Olympic medalist, or World Cup winner, I should say. And now we have another daughter of an Olympic medalist, Annalena Huber, along with her teammate Nadia Falkensteiner, the second of two from Italy, with a great start time.
Yes, it was a good start. Maybe they were a little too early on the start curve, and also out of 9 they had a tiny bump on the right side, but it's fine. And they're doing a good job so far. They had some tough weeks over this past season, but they're doing pretty good today. Oh, that was a bit too early on to 15. I think they might have lost some time there. But Sandra is happy.
Yeah, she's happy, and that was a little bit of a real surprise because they kept it together, and obviously the sled's in good shape. So second place right now between the Germans and the Americans right now for Italy.
Yeah, they did a good job today. And I also think Sandra knows that they had a hard time over the past few weeks, so she's just happy that they made it down safely and with a solid run to the finish.
It was a day not unlike today with the snow falling in Altenberg that Sandra Robacher won her first and only World Cup race. Were you there?
I wasn't on the World Cup circuit yet, but I watched it from home, that race. It was a lot of snow back then.
Poland, Domovic and Pivkowska, 11th place at the World Championships last year. They're having a decent season in women's doubles with 7th, 9th, and 10th in their 3 races. But Team Poland's had a rough go in the relay so far this year.
Yes, they were a bit unlucky with the team relays here so far. But I think in doubles competition, these two made a good job so far. And also the start time was pretty good.
6.055 at the start. Now the Kreisel. What's with the red flag down here at the bottom? I don't think we see it on the camera, but I saw it alongside the track.
At the end of Kreisel, there's a red flag, which shows you where you kind of have to start steering out of Kreisel, and you also should have the height at the end of Kreisel, so you have a good exit and have like a nice transition to 11.
Not bad. A little rehearsed dance, it would appear, down there at the bottom for Team Poland, currently in 7th place ahead of Romania and Ukraine, but trailing the more powerful luge nations of Germany, the USA, Italy, and Canada. Are we going to see a second Austrian women's doubles team at any point? You're so strong in men's doubles.
Yes, I don't think that there will be any this season. Hopefully for next season there will be a second one, but it's hard to find doubles women in Austria recently. We had one planned, but the top woman quit just in the beginning of the season. Yeah, so we will see how that will be going on over the next years.
Now the third of the Germans and the 2-time world champions. Jessica Degenhardt admits that they're feeling a little bit of pressure after finishing 13th last year in the World Championships on this Jessica's home track. She grew up not far from here. How's the start so far? Oh, double bump.
Yeah, they had a really good start time. It was just 4 thousandths of start record, but out of 9 they slightly hit 2 walls, which I don't think it will cost them too much time right now on 2 stock cuts, but if the other ladies come later, it maybe shows that they maybe have lost some time there.
Any of these last 6 sleds could make it onto the podium today. And despite the little double tap in the straightaway between 9 and Kreisel, a good downtime of 42.786. Still almost a half-second off the track record, but in the snow and with the top mistakes, that's not a bad showing.
Yes, and I think Jessie showed there was a tricky moment out of 9. But their start is really powerful and good. And here you see it's a lot of height, a bit too early also, and then she did a good way correcting it after the second bump.
Jessie and Cheyenne, 3 second-place results this year. Still looking for their first victory. They're currently in 3rd place, and there's a look at the flag. It's almost as if they heard us, Lisa.
Yes, it is. Especially if it's your first time here in Altenberg, it's a really important point that you have to steer out of Kreisel there.
2 Latvians in today's race, both of whom have been on the podium this year. As we have gone through 10 of the 15, we have another quick break to sweep the track. Anda Upaita and Zana Koluma, both from the capital city of Riga. So far this year, they've had 1 podium, but top 5 in 3 of the 4 races. Anda had an adventurous year last year, Lisa. You may recall she competed with 3 different doubles teammates on the World Cup.
Yes, I can remember. It was a bit crazy. Also here, she has a start record with Bogdanova and a track record with her now bottom woman Kaluma, which is very interesting. But I think now these two found each other and they will stay like this, teamed up, I think.
Why not? They finished second in both the World Championships and the World Cup, the 2 back-to-back weekends last January here in Altenberg. Nice job to stay off the wall.
Yes, and also pretty good Kreisel, not too much of a loop here. And that's now she has a good advantage of 800ths of a second, which I think Jessie and Cheyenne lost out of 9.
This is going to be close.
Oh, that was a big mistake.
And no longer close. That is going to cost them.
Yes.
To be ready to finish. It is. That cost them about 2/10, maybe 3/10 of a second.
Yeah, they were lucky they didn't crash there out of 15. And that's just costing a lot of time down there. Yes, they were really low in 15 and then rolled over the end of it and just a really late entrance into 16.
You know what the line is supposed to be, but it's easier to say than it is to do, isn't it?
That is very true. Especially, that's the top speed area right there, so it's easy to make mistakes.
These 2 women have dominated like few other athletes this season on the EBERSPA Luge World Cup. From Team Austria, Selina Egla, Lara Kipp, they're the World Cup leaders. They've won 3 out of 4 races. They've won most of the individual race heats, runs.
Yes, and they just had
a
perfect exit of 9 there. And Selina and Lara just feel so comfortable sliding. It looks so easy for them to slide and relaxed, and they're doing a great job right now. They also got better at the start over the summer, which was their main thing to work on. And now they're just showing off what they can do best and just sliding in almost perfection, I would say.
Unbelievable. And that man right there is part of the Austrian success story. Hakel, Pence, Egantlia, they're putting together some fast sleds. But what is it? You grew up with these 2. What is it about them, Lisa, that makes them so special?
Well, Selina they are both really hardworking and very disciplined. And I think that they are just a great team. They work great together, and they've been sliding together for since they both started doubles, which I think is a really big advantage with a lot of fresh doubles team as well, and just the communication. And well, I think they just enjoy sliding and having fun.
Right now it's Austria leading over Germany, Latvia, Germany, and Italy. That's the top 5, but we still have 3 sleds remaining. And the second of the 2 from Latvia. They didn't race here last year, Marta Robanica and Kitya Bogdanova. But as Lisa just mentioned, Bogdanova part of a start record. And they've had a good year this year with 2 podiums, and they are still one of the youngest teams in the sport.
Yes, they are, but they're doing a great job because they were in the World Cup last year as well, and also the World Championships. They are still young, but they are sliding really well, and they were just too high in out of 9 and just overcorrected a little bit to not touch the wall, which made them skid. So it's gonna cost them some time. But now they're back online.
Absolutely, 3/10 of a second back. Let's see this next clock. They've lost more. We don't expect them to gain on the Austrians, but can they keep this in the top 5 down here? 4th place. Latvia in 3rd and 4th right now behind Austria and Germany.
They were a bit too early onto the start curve here. They couldn't steer enough to make it really smooth. And here they were just high and overcorrected it a bit too much, but it was either that or probably hitting the wall out of 9.
And in some cases, it's better to just tap the wall than it is to oversteer. But that depends on where on a track you are.
There are some fans cheering them on, which is great.
Absolutely. The Latvian fans we see at just about every track. Now, Andi and Marian have been battling illnesses this week. They both have had a little bit of flu-like symptoms. Let's see how they're feeling today on race day. They didn't compete in seated training yesterday. Oh, no. The problems continue for the defending World Cup champions.
That's just 9 is so tricky, and once you lose control out of 9, you just keep hitting the walls, which sucks because now they lost all their speed. Even though they had a great start time, just 0.02 of the start record.
So they will cross here in 14th place. Relatively speaking, this has been an incredibly disappointing start to this season for Andi and Marian. They've been in top 5 prior to this weekend in every race, but no podiums for a team that won the World Cup here last year in Altenberg and was on the podium in just about every race.
Yes, and I think it's just Andrea is really disappointed with that run. And just here you can see them hitting the walls, I think 3 or 4 times. And then they got one more bump right before Kreisel. They have one more run to clean it up, but I don't think that they will be near the podium today with that car.
No, not after those errors. Yep. One more here, the Americans Forgan and Kirkby. They ended up on the podium last year at the World Championships. They had their first victory on the World Cup earlier this year, and last weekend also had a podium finish. Although Siobhan Forgan and Sophia Kirkby did have a little bit of trouble yesterday in seated training, the final training group, as they were having problems in the transition between 9 and Kreisel.
They are really great starters, and it just looked really powerful. So now they're in 9, and just slightly hit the wall, which is okay, I think.
Right, that's what we were talking about earlier. If you let the sled just do a quick tap, you may be better off.
But they've lost some time to Selena and Lara, but they're putting down a really clean run right here.
This has certainly been a fast sled all season long, but already 1400's back. It still could be top 3 for the USA with clean lines down below.
Yes,
and it
second
is.
place.
We got that.
Yes, they can find some time out of 9.
Second place currently for team.
It's actually, if you look at the standings, it's the top 3 teams in the World Cup standings holding those exact spots right now in the leaderboard after run 1 World Cup in Altenberg.
Yes, I think these 3 teams have been very consistent and just doing a good job. There was a slight bump, which just costs you speed down the straightaway, especially because you're not that fast there. But the rest of the run was really clean and a nice run, so.
You have to go back to the likes of Aaron Hamlin or perhaps even the USA doubles teams from 20 years ago to find consistent success week in and week out. That has been displayed by Siobhan Forgan and Sophia Kirkby. And Sophie will make her commentating debut a little later today in men's doubles. But she still has work to do, as do all 30 athletes. Here's a look at the standings. As you can see, the gap is pretty wide between Austria and the USA. But then you have a little bit of a fight for the other podium positions. And congratulations to these young Italians and Canadians competing here for the first time this season. It'll be interesting to see if they can ride the elevator in run number 2. So that's the situation here. The end of the first heat, the first of a lot of races this weekend in Altenberg. We're about 20 minutes away from the second run. They'll reset the track. And before I let you go, Lisa, can anyone catch Austria?
If Selena and Laura have a second run like this, I don't think it's possible today, because also of the mistakes that the others had, but they just have an amazing speed right now in the track. And also, well, I think they're just going with the flow right now, and it's going to be hard keeping up with them in the second run, I think. But we will see.
We will see. So grab a cup of coffee or a bratwurst or something like that. We'll be back. Lisa Schulte and I, run number 2 of the women's doubles coming up from Altenberg in just a few moments.